Oi. Okay. Alright, let's see. What is broken? What is not? What is working? Roll call. Show me. Rumble. What you doing? Taco to me, Rumble. Taco to me, Rumble. There you are. Okay. Rumble, we are live. Twitch, we are live. And stupid YouTube, also live. Okay. Alerts appear to be going. And lurks, putting friends before frames. Check and check. I'm just gonna leave those just like that. Okay. I think we're there. I think we've done it. I think we've managed. Not well, but we've managed. Greetings. Salutations all. It's very good to see you. Very good to have you in on, again, this most auspicious of eves. Each person that I see here, assuming that you know what you're in for, assuming that you know what's happening here tonight. It's a really big vote of confidence for you. It's really neat. Gotta say. Boiling lava hut. Builds character or something. I don't know. Okay. Let me see. That warm anti-tilt, it's true, Leanne. Well, boiling lava hot anti-tilt, but yes. That's the idea. We're getting it. It's true. Jack, it's good to see you, my friend. Welcome. Welcome. Hello. Hiya, mouse. Hydrate. Get you. Oh, calling out Leanne. Very nice. Disappointment pack to boot. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Disappointment pack. Let's get it on the list. Boom. We got it. Thank you for calling it, Leanne. Hello, guys. Mafia. Hope it was a Scrum Tush time zone. It's good. It's good well-wishing to pass out Scrum Tush time zones and all. Very good. Thank you for calling out, Mouse. I appreciate you, Jack. Wild, welcome. It's good to see you, madam. Good to see you. Hydrate. Stretch. Okay, yep. No, I'm going to disable all of these commands. For the rest of the night, people are going to try to use these things, and I am not even going to see chat. So, yep. You're just going to lose points. Okay. Eye drops. It's good. You know, one of these days I'll remember to do that ahead of stream. Maybe on the days where I disable such commands, I'll do it ahead of stream. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay. We're stretching. We're very quickly stretching. We're not finna pedestrian in all over the joint, okay? Just got a couple quick things moving. Just get that blood moving. I'm very sore. Very sore from workout. Oy. Okay. Alright. We've moved. We're adjusting our eyes by looking at something far away. You know, resting our eyeballs and so forth. Looking at the snow outside. Pretty cool. Good. Ferret! It's good to see you, my friend. Welcome in. And thank you for calling out Ferret. I appreciate it. Very much. Very much. Okay, let me see here. Burn points. Yeah. Gotta get them while you're paying attention. Yep. Let me see here. I feel like I'm missing something. Go Live's one out. notifications to the right people, I believe. You still got snow outside. Our trees are blooming. They're white and pink flowers. Yep, nope. It actively blizzarded today, yesterday and today. And I am excited. Yes, I am. Rick, it's good to see you. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. It was 76 out today? That's nuts, joke. Gross. We had that last week. Not happy. Now it's, yeah. I think it's like a nice balmy 20 right now. 25 something? Something like that. Snow? It's been severely thunderstorming here. Oh, well. Yep, nope. Nope, pretty fun snow today. Pretty darned fun. If I do's says so's myself. Oh, hello there. Oh, hello. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. How's it going? Oh, 82? What the heck? That's crazy wild. No, no, no. Good evening. Doctor. Good to see you, Doc. We've had a dust storm all day today. Oh, sky yellow-brown. Fun. Very fun. I've experienced those over on the other side of the world, and I've experienced them down south, but not in Texas. It was in Arizona. And I was like, is this a mud storm? I was like, what the it was funny because I was like on the way back from the sandbox. And it's like, well, I never need to deal with that again. And then I got like a layover in Phoenix, and I got stuck there, and it was like, what the it was happening there, and I was like, we brought them with us. That was like a whole joke with our unit. We brought them with us. Thank you for calling out, Pri. I appreciate you. Thank you for calling out, Joke. I appreciate you. Happy Pi Day. Is it today? Oh, it sure is. Look at that. Huh. That's... Huh. Interesting. I can't explain why that's interesting, but a random occurrence today was about pi, and mud storms are a thing. If it rained today, it'd be mud. Yep, it was wild. We got stuck there because of it. It was like, all right, well, guess this is our life now. Guess this is it. Okay, there was something else. Oh, that's what I needed. You know what? I needed chapstick. I even said to myself, remember to put on chapstick, self. You're gonna forget, and it's gonna be stupid. And I forgot. But I got it now, and that's pretty cool. So it's not as stupid. That's good. That's good. Very handy. Very handy indeed. Okay, let me see. Microphone is going through correctly. Music should be working. Alerts are turned down, but not off. I think we're there. Good. It's good. All right, so before I get into anything else here tonight, if you are perhaps on the off chance that there is someone new around these parts here tonight on Rumble, on Twitch, even on YouTube, I suppose, though YouTube Live is like basically not a thing. YouTube Live is a sort of a trash dead platform because YouTube has decided to put exactly zero effort or resources into their live, which, hey, if you got a good thing going with your archive stuff, why mess with a good thing, right? I guess I understand, but yeah, YouTube Live is, wow, pain. There's coming a day at some point where I'm going to stop live streaming to YouTube and I'll just post VODs there, like just for archival purposes. Like that day is coming. I don't know when, but it's coming because YouTube Live, it's just one more thing for me to set up and it's never used, you know? So, especially now that we're on Rumble and we are sufficiently spread loaded. Okay. I was like, who is that? Okay. New person. I'm not used to seeing names on lists like that. But yes, welcome in. If I have not yet had the pleasure of making your acquaintance, my name is Six, or Gus, or Hey You, Godfather, Guy with the Tie. It doesn't need to rhyme, but if you'd like it to rhyme, it can rhyme. I'm a variety streamer. I get up to a variety of things. It's right there in the name. I presently stream on Tuesday and Fridays and Saturdays. Tuesdays and Saturdays are some of the silliness. Tuesday in it is supposed to be earmarked for Apex. It always has been historically. I got to play it for the first time again this past Tuesday after building, well, the new build. And it was a lot of fun. It took a long time to get going because I needed to get all my settings back and like remember that, oh right, this is how you play a video game. But it was pretty fun. Got to play with Ahmed and poke around for a little while, and that was neat. So glad to have had all of you guys there on Tuesday. Thank you for coming out and supporting with your bandwidth, with your well-wishings, telling a friend, guiding raids. Those of you who did raid, that's pretty cool, and I appreciate it a whole heck of a lot. Now, tomorrow is a fun thing. I get to tell you guys, for those of you who haven't heard, tomorrow is the first night of Webbed, a game, a little spooter game that was voted on by the patrons. I've been sitting on that game for a long old time, and so this is I'm looking forward to it. I don't know anything about it because, as usual, with all of my anything but Apex titles, I try to go in blind. So we're gonna figure it out tomorrow. 8 usual time, 8 Pacific. That's when that'll be poppin', and that'll be on live streamed to the usual platforms. And then tomorrow night, I will probably not, and by probably not, I'm pretty sure I've made up my mind on this. I will not be premiering Sunday's upload to Rumble and YouTube. I will not be premiering that on tomorrow night's stream, as I want to do, only because it's a long video. It's a long video that's going out on Sunday, and that's because Sunday is story time. Sunday is story time. Video that's going live first on Rumble and then later on YouTube. That's going to be story time. And it's a little bit longer, so yeah, I won't premiere it. I won't premiere it on the stream tomorrow. We will resume that when we get back to the shorter projects. Thank you guys, everybody who's looked at the shorts that have come out this week. It is my want, and it is my plan to have regular shorts as we go through the weeks. So multiple shorts per week is my aim. So this last week we had a short go out on Tuesday in it and another on Thursday. Thank you guys who have looked at all of those, who shared them around. It's really fun and easy to share the shorts, right? They just embed in Discord and so forth. You just like watch them right in Discord. So thank you to everybody who's watched those, who's given it a like, thumbs up, comments. I didn't even know there were comments on shorts. Today I learned. But yeah, so it's been interesting. Been meeting some people on YouTube. We've got something of it. We're meeting people on YouTube, so pretty darn cool. CJ number 4 on YouTube. That's right, down in YouTube land. I see you, CJ number 4. Yeah, it's echoey over there. Echoey indeed. And yeah. So that's that for that Tuesday in it. I'll be back at Apex. Pretty excited about that. Now that it's all set up, I get to jump into it a little bit faster. That's pretty cool. And then I will have a special upload in the course of the week, this next week, that I'm going to keep a little bit secret. Still have to schedule. No, I'm not going to talk about it. Too much to talk about. There's too many things. There's too much in the hopper. There's too much in the works. Too much in the plans. I gotta remember what it is I am and am not talking about publicly yet. I gotta keep it all straight in my brain. But suffice it to say, there's a lot of stuff in the works. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of change, good change on the horizon. Things that I've been meaning to do for a while, things I've needed to do for a while, that are on my priority list now that I've gotten some of the bigger projects checked off. So, yeah, and next week, same thing. Plan is to continue with the masculine journey, our topic here tonight, next Friday. So that's what you can expect. You can, again, follow on the various platforms so that you don't miss any of the stuff, any of the things. Big thanks to everybody who makes this possible. I'm not monetized on those platforms. I am monetized on Rumble because they don't have any hurdles to jump over. So you're just like automatically monetized, like right out of the gate. So I guess they've got ads that play on live, which was unexpected. I did not anticipate that, but I still have a lot to learn about that platform, the ins and outs. I've been asked a couple questions that I'm like, I do not have answers to your questions. I am sorry. So I don't have all the answers. I'm learning. We're working on it. That's one of the things that I'm going to be getting better at as I am now have a little bit more time to do so. So yeah, on the horizon, that is in the next 3 weeks or so, I may disappear for like any sort of bonus availability, and that's because it's tax time, baby. Yes, I did a ton of taxes before the end of the year. I did a lot of the getting receipts and everything in order all in September, October, like August, September, October. I did a ton to prepare myself to better my positioning going into the last months. I did a bunch more in December. Now it's time for me to bring it all together. This year has not been kind to me so far in terms of spare time to do such things. So now it's time, and I've got a month left now, 4 weeks to finish all those taxes. So it's a lot, and I've got to do it. So it's one last obnoxious thing that I've got to do. Let's see. What else? What else am I forgetting? Forgetting something. The rendezvous. Thank you to everybody who I got to see on Wednesday. It was really good to chat with you guys, to catch up on stuff and things. Taco to you guys about your lives. Taco to you guys about just sort of the human experience, to get your input on for the crews that I can, for the crews that have demonstrated maturity enough and sensibility enough to talk about serious topics. I got to talk about a lot of heavy stuff. And a lot of you guys got to talk about and process some pretty heavy things. We even got to talk about some of the material that we'll be going through here tonight without giving too much away. It was really good to run some ideas past you guys and hear some different opinions. So it was really good to see you guys. Really good to see you on Wednesdays. If you guys aren't plugged into community on Wednesdays, join a CNR, the Cosa Nostra Rendezvous. They're big to do. Go check out the events tab in the Discord. Join the Discord. Discord's tough to get in, but that's by design. So join the Discord. Get plugged in. Build a real community. Do this life thing for realsies. Big thanks to everybody who makes all this possible. Whether you're sponsoring through gifted subs and stuff like Trotsky's doing on Rumble, you guys with your bandwidth, with wherever you are, the folks who are supporting on Ko-fi or Patreon, I'm grateful. Grateful and a half. Those of you guys who've shared around the shorts, as I said, Sunday's uploads of the long form content, told a friend, like Guts has done, just like dragging all of her friends. Hey, you gotta come watch the stream. Oh, you gotta meet the mafia. Pretty cool, gotta say. So, really grateful for the vote of confidence that comes with all of the stuff that you guys have done to support. In particular, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't call out my public patrons. These are the folks who have taken their financial support to the next level, okay? They took that $5 a month on Ko-fi, on Patreon, and they cranked it up. So thank you especially to Aki, Bootless, Dano, Leanne, Ferret, Goose, Hale, Jen, Joke, Abby, Tink, Helly, Marty, May, Karma, Pre, Rick, Zen, Ryan, Sabrina, Tech, Mouse, Trotsky, Pell, Milk, Dragon, CJ number 1, and Zin. Means a heck of a lot. A heck of a lot. And I hope to earn it. I hope to earn it. The vote of confidence. It's a big to-do. A big to-do. I put no small amount of effort into this. And it's to hopefully serve you well, to improve your lives. Okay. Let me catch up. Thank you for the lurk, Mouse. Sorry about your headache. That's lousy. Feel better soon. Good to see you, Boogan. Welcome in. Welcome. Glad to have you. Ruth, you legend to you. How do I sound, Ruth? You're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to take notes. I don't know what it is. I got to ping you, Ruth, and be like, how does this sound? Because I got all the cables. Everything's supposedly working. I don't know. Yes, you're hearing it through all of the compression and stuff of the streaming platforms, but I don't know how I sound. I don't know if I moved the microphone. Everything is now in its proper place. So I don't know if all my levels are messed up. And I've been meaning to, with all my spare time and all of your spare time, busy man, meaning to bug you. I hope I sound okay and I'm not being offensive to your ears in my yammering. List is almost half a chat window tall. It's pretty cool, Leanne. It is a humbling thing to see that list in its current state. I gotta say, every single time. Tweety, it's good to see you, Tweety. Both on cooldown. Blasphemy. Dapper suit today. Always is. I'm glad you think so. Thank you, Tweety. Trying to dress in a manner worthy of you. You know this. You've heard me say it before. Just trying to honor you. Ski, I appreciate the lurk, my friend. I appreciate the heck out of it. Yes, I do. Mel, thank you for dropping so many links. All of you guys who are always dropping links. It means the world. It means the world. Good to see you, Abdul. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome in. I hope the week was kind to you. You sound great, thank you. Thank you to you, because it wouldn't have happened without you. So, thank you, my friend. It's because of you. That's the right, gang. Any credit for sounding at all, sounding okay, even a little bit, that goes to Ruth. Ruth's the one who gets the pats and the accolades. Pat. I'm grateful and a half. Yes, I am. I found my audio crackling on something earlier, and I was like, what is that? Because I also did the split with the speakers, right? Like we talked about. And I heard the crackle after all of this was set up. I'm listening to a song on Spotify. I'm like, what the heck? And I cranked it up and I could hear more crackle. And I was like, what is that? Turns out Spotify has like EQ type stuff, right? And so I went into Spotify. I'm like, oh, and it was set up for one of those soundscapes, like, you know, like dance, rock, acoustic, whatever, all those different things. And I was like, I wonder. So I changed it to just flat, no EQ, no changes from Spotify, no modifications whatsoever. And the crackle vanished. And everything sounded way better. And I was like, oh, is that right? Turns out you just let the sound equipment do its thing. You just let all the stuff do its business. And you don't have all the extra noise on top. It's pretty cool. So, thought of you today. Thought of you as I was fussing with that. Hydrate. Anti-tilt. Oh my gosh. Crunchy pop EQ. Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, we're hydrate. We are fight tilt. Okay. Okay. Let me see here. That's working. That's working. Oh, and in case any of you missed that, the reason that my stream was broken at the beginning of Tuesday in it was because I had OBS, which has not happened before. OBS was opened in administrator mode, but I always open OBS in administrator mode, in admin mode. Always. I always run it in that. Always on my old PC, I did that. I don't know, I just did. Every time you open it up, are you sure you want to run this program? You need administrator approval, whatever. Like, I always did that. I tried it on this PC and it broke. So that's what was causing weird system sounds. It was like crashing, and then yeah, it killed my streams. Turned off administrator mode and problem solved. So I'm guessing it has something to do with the difference between Windows 10 on the old system and Windows 11 on this system. It's literally my only guesses. So I don't know what to tell you. It's a weird thing. You upgraded quite a bit with the internal DAC for your headphones. I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm finally getting my mileage out of them, getting my money's worth out of them, because they are, literally falling apart. They're old. I've had those headphones now for 4 years, and yep, they're getting a little worn. I don't know how to clean them. That's what I got to figure out, is how to clean them, because they've got like felt on them, right? Like they got that soft felt for the ears and the top bit, and I'm like, can I just like disassemble these things and throw those in the wash or something like that? Because, you know, they're gross. Like, they just get like oil from your hair, like from your skin. They just build up. So I feel like they're making me break out. The headphones are making me break out. I gotta wash them. I don't know how. One of the things I gotta look up. I don't know. I feel like I'll never get it reassembled if I disassemble it, though. Is that their scam? You need to buy new headphones because you can't disassemble them? You'll break them if you do? Jeez. Oy. 11 is poop, from what I've heard. Oh, yeah, Rick. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. There's some stuff that's, like, fine. But for the most part, I find myself just changing all of the optional settings on it. I find myself just changing it back to resemble whatever the hell Windows 10 was doing. So, like, whatever I was used to on 10, how do I get that on 11? does some annoying things. But for the most part, it's not that different. Not that I see anyways. I'm sure, like, for someone on the developing end of things, someone who knows their way around systems better, maybe networks and stuff, I don't know. I'm sure they've got, like, proper critiques and complaints. Me, I'm like, why is this star in the middle? And then I moved it over to the side, and now I don't care. Everything's sort of back to normal. Sort of. The felt pads come off, yes, but better to replace them than wash them. The pads? You can replace the pads. Interesting. Interesting. That's how I feel, Abdul. I did legs yesterday, and I am in pain today. I am suffer. So, yeah. All right. So, without much more ado, because I know that we've got some folks who are far ahead on the time zones and people who've got early outs and so forth, I want to hurry up and get to tonight's material. So I'll start with the caveats and all of the admin stuff as we head into this. Before I do, there is a command. Thank you, Mel, for dropping that thing. There is a command for the previous nights. My encouragement to people is that if you have missed, per my go live tonight, if you have missed the previous talks of this particular series, The Masculine Journey, I obviously recommend go check the VODs for those. You can watch them back at 1.5 times speed, 2 times speed if you're feeling it. I do talk slow, turns out. I will try tonight, based on feedback, incidentally. Thank you for that feedback. I will try to talk faster. I have, therefore, I get to fit in more material. So you're going to have to, ready to keep up. So those of you who are used to watching the VODs in 2 times after the fact to, like, catch up on what you missed, tonight might not be a good night for you to do that. This stream might not be a good one. The 2 times might not help you. It might be bad when I get into the material. We'll see. I don't know. I've got a lot to say, and a lot of it's very serious, so I tend to slow down quite a lot with the seriousness. I expect that tonight will be no exception, but hopefully it'll be a little bit faster at any rate, noticeably so. Tonight is night 4 of this. So yes, there's 3 other VODs ahead of this one. Last week was an exception. Last week I did not stream, and that's because I was having technical difficulties. I just missed Friday night, so we're looking all the way back at 3 weeks ago now. That's because 2 Fridays ago, I was in California visiting family and doing, well, stuff that now you guys know. In fact, I believe it was that Friday night. Yep, it was that Friday night that we did Chair Funeral, that we recorded Chair Funeral and actually had the fire. So that was my 2 Fridays ago. So the last time we delved here was the 21st of February. 21st of February. So we're picking back up with the seriousness. Now, tonight I will be missing a lot of chat. I'll be missing all of chat, okay? Once we get into this, I will be disabling raids. It'll be follower only mode on Twitch. I don't have an option for that on Rumble. I'm still figuring out exactly how stuff like that works on Rumble. There are private streams and so forth that are only for subscribers. I'm working on it. Like I said, this is one of the things I need to get sorted out. Same thing with the bots over there. The bots to do commands and redeems and all of that. I'm got it. That's on my list of things that I want to tackle this upcoming week. Now that big Chair Funeral project type stuff is now behind me, and after the reveal that you'll see on Sunday, the story time reveal on Sunday, that I should have a little more time to breathe, which is good for me. I also am very much looking forward to catching up with the Hot Bride, because I have not got to see very much of her this week. It's been a very, very busy week, and we've sort of been ships passing in the night. Today I got to see her for like a whopping 10 minutes while I scarfed down some food and then got back to work. Yesterday she was gone all day. We did chores together as our quality time together. And then tomorrow she'll be in the hospital all day, and she'll be getting home when I go live. So we will hopefully see each other again Sunday morning. We'll reconvene Sunday morning. So she has, it would be silly. It would be a ridiculous thing for me to not recognize the enormous sacrifices that she makes to make this possible. Okay? None of this happens without her. None of this happens without her incredible hard work, her unwavering support, and her bottomless well of love. It's not possible without her. I can't say enough good things, and I cannot express my gratitude enough. She sacrifices an enormous amount to make tonight possible. And it is my hope that you guys will honor her in respecting what she is sacrificing to make happen. This is something that she's going through right now, is trying to be out of the box toward the people who don't appreciate how much work goes into trying to love some of you. It is my ongoing effort here. It is one of my biggest challenges in all of life, one of the greatest adventures as well. One of the most rewarding things I've ever undertaken is to love you, regardless of who you are, where you've been, or what you've done. And you may have heard such words like that before and not thought much of them, but I dare you to try it. And you will experience some of what this looks like, and it's not easy. So if you've never thanked the hot bride, maybe do that. Maybe do that. No. So, okay, I'm going to miss a lot of chat. I'm grateful to all of you who will field questions whilst listening. I know that that's not possible for a lot of you. I know that that's outside of the realm of ease of possibility. I will not be offended. There's just going to be a lot. I'm going to have the little ticker running along the bottom of the screen right there that you'll see. So folks coming in can hopefully see that there's a lecture going on, and then I'm going to be missing chat and so forth. So I hope that... Where's the settings? There they are. I hope that that will not scare off too many new folks, potentially new folks that we're meeting. So, okay, raids are now disabled. We're closing the gates, you guys. We're pulling up the drawbridge. Follower only mode is enabled on chat on Twitch. And sounds are muted. I wonder why this is not... Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. I wonder why this is not... Oh, there we go. Jeez. I broke something in Discord. Very annoying. Okay. all right. Spark, it's good to see you. Low bandwidth, giving you my lowest bandwidth to lurk. I appreciate that. 160, you guys, or 144 if you can get away with it. I appreciate it. I copied it all again for nothing. Happy to help, but what's the command? What? You did the command. I watched you type in the command. What do you mean? Oh, you didn't. You wrote that out. Oh, it's exactly what you typed in. It's masculinity. That was the command. Could turn up the mic gain a tiny bit. Thank you. Okay. Mic gain a tiny bit. Now I do that on both of them. Is that correct, Ruth? Because now it's split, right? So I need to have the gain. They're matched right now. They're equal right now. I need to turn it up on both. Is that right? Because otherwise one will pull toward the other, toward the left ear. Is that like a thing? Does it need to be both? I feel like it needs to be both. Okay, let's see. tiny bit. So there's a tiny bit. I don't know if that's where we want it. Yes, do both. Excellent. Okay, I'm learning things. Thank you. I appreciate the hand holding. Yes, I do. We adore Hot Bride. Aw. Aw. All the things? Yeah, that's the one, Jack. That's the one. 100% chance I typo that more than once. Hi, Sam. It's good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome. Duckling, it's good to see you. Good to have you. That's better. Nice. Okay, I turned that up. I don't even know. 5%? 4%? It wasn't very much. So, the last time I messed with this thing, you know, I made a mess of it. So, it's a touch sensitive. So, I'm going in small increments here. I got a kick out of setting up the Hot Brides build these past couple days also. It was another project that I had, was getting her set up. And she got the old microphone. I was like, here, this is a gain dial. Never touch this. It's like, why is there a giant gain dial on there? You'll never need to change it. The microphone is in place. Why would you move it? It was just silly. She's like, then why is it on there? I said, because. And I said, see this? This is the recording pattern for the things listening. She says, yeah. I said, never touch it. She said, why is it on there? I said, I don't know. Because lurking while playing spooky game. You and Spark both. That's crazy. Zin, I'm grateful for you being here. Mel, thank you for calling out. Zin, appreciate you very much. Very much. Okay, I go eep now. I'm super tired. You have an amazing night. Hope the conversation goes well. Thank you, sir. Means a heck of a lot. I hope that the sleep is good and the weekend starts off kindly for you. All right. As we said, things are closed off. The drawbridge is pulled up, and we must needs begin. Okay. Let me just make sure that this is all going appropriately here. Good. Cakes' stream was stuttering for a minute. I'm like, did it break? Did it? Okay. That's one thing I didn't do. Yeah, uh-huh. Oh, yeah, hey, uh-huh. You're busted. You're busted, Buster. Timestamp time indeed, Jack. Let's do it. The Masculine Journey. Part 2 of The Ranger. Night 4 of the series. Talk number 172. Which is something. It's a lot of weeks. It's a lot of Fridays. It's a lot of talks. It's a lot of talks. Again, I can't encourage you enough that if you have not seen the previous 3 talks in this series, go back and watch them. Find the VODs. Find the VODs and watch those. You'll be missing a lot of context going into tonight if you don't. Also, if all you see is the last one, Ranger Part 1, you'll be missing a lot of context for the Ranger. So I have to start out the gate here already by saying there are a small number of individuals who have embarrassed themselves by assuming that everything that could possibly be said about the developing adolescent was said last Friday in my hour-and-a-half lecture. That was it. That's all. And therefore, Gus doesn't know what he's talking about. Therefore, Gus read 10 books on this subject for no reason whatsoever, because all he said were these things, even though it was made clear that there would be a part 2. Even though it was made clear that there was a lot of content that I didn't get to that night. So, my encouragement to everybody whose chat I will not be seeing is refrain from expressing your umbrage here if your desire is to draw me in with it I won't see it. Some of you, others, many more of you, made it known to me that you were not able to properly absorb the material on a night that was very important to you because of what was happening in chat. My encouragement to you is disable chat. If you want to hear the lecture here tonight, and if you want to be here for the material, if you want to better your life and that of those around you, disable chat, as I'm doing. I won't be offended in the slightest. I'm not looking for massive chat engagement here. These talks are something altogether different, as you veterans of the channel well know. I am not looking to bolster stats on Friday nights, hence my disabling like raids and follower-only chat and all these things that harm any sort of organic networking things that happen on the various platforms. Those don't happen on Friday nights because that's not what I'm doing on Friday nights. On Friday nights, I'm here to serve you. Plain and simple. Again, no small amount of blood, sweat, and indeed tears have gone into generating this content for your betterment. Not to lambast, not to embarrass, not to make fun of, not to belittle. To serve. To love. So, I will also be asking a lot of rhetorical questions here tonight, the answers to which will be incredibly personal and for many of you painful. Sometimes I will remember to say, please don't answer this in chat. This is a question just for you to ponder on your own. I think last time I forgot to say that a couple times. Men, a lot of these things, a lot of these questions will indeed be rhetorical. And I'm not expecting you to put your answers in chat for realsies, okay? I'm not expecting you to voice or to vent or to air all of your grievances and all of your abuses here in a public space. The space for real meaningful processing of this stuff happens in community, not in syntaxless chat, voiceless chat, either on Twitch, YouTube, or Rumble, okay? Rendezvous are a good time for it if your crew has demonstrated a maturity where that's possible. I obviously encourage that. Otherwise, reach out to individual members of the community, this one or somewhere else, but have somebody to process this sort of stuff with. Don't try to field it all alone. Don't try to shoulder it all alone. And don't do it in the vacuous, open, parasocial space that is internet chat. Reddit won't help you, okay? Reddit's not your friend. Twitch chat's not your friend. It's not gonna... it won't lead to your thriving. Okay. All right. Night 4. The Ranger, Part 2. It's the 11th century BC. The army of the Philistines is drawn up against that of Israel. Day after day, the two sides form up for battle, but each day they stand down when an absolutely huge Philistine named Goliath steps out in front and taunts the Israelites, demanding that they send forth a champion to face him in single combat. Am I not a Philistine, and are you not servants of Saul? Choose one of your men and have him come out against me. If he wins in a fight against me and kills me, we will be your servants. But if I win against him and kill him, then you will be our servants. Serve us. I defy the ranks of Israel today. Send me a man so we can fight. This goes on for weeks. Weeks of this. Every day. Line up for a fight. Rattled. Shaken. Stand down from the fight. The fight is delayed. The two camps at a standstill. Enter David, a young shepherd boy. Now, pause. just real quick, do me a favor and think for a second. What comes to mind when you picture a shepherd? So David's a shepherd boy. What comes to mind when you hear the word shepherd? You got it in your brain? Okay, just like, did you think the same thing I did? Okay, be honest. Did you picture this? Did you picture this? Is this what came to mind? When you picture shepherd, I say the word shepherd. Is this your picture? Is this your mental picture for shepherd? Because this is mine. Okay? Is it this one? Or, maybe there's different variation on it. Is it like, there's the whole cast there. You can see the Peanuts one. Okay? There you go. Look at all of them. Very tough, very scared. Or how about this? Little kid with his little hook and the cute little lambs. Look how pretty. Look how, or there's a good one. That's great. Look at little sandals and his happy little ship on a little crook hook. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's pretty great. Or you hear David, and David the shepherd. You picture, oh, there he is with his little harp and the happy little ship. And wow, isn't that something? That's a shepherd, right? That's what pops up in my brain. Think of a shepherd. And I definitely thought of the Peanuts and Charlie Brown Christmas. And Linus with his blanket on his head. That is, yep, that's it. Okay. Now, let me tell you something that I learned that took me far too long in my life to learn, incidentally. It wasn't exactly part of my study of history, this thing. Let me tell you what it looks like, the life of an actual shepherd. If you do even a cursory look into the world of shepherding, going all the way back to antiquity, you will learn just how cute this life actually was, and just what kind of people have historically been shepherds. You know the phrase, curse like a sailor? We don't have much of an issue with that one, right? People don't struggle with that. That's not, you're like, yeah, curse like a sailor, okay? There's no hang up there. You don't even falter, right? You just onward. Over the years, we've had lots of good cinematic depictions, in movies and video games, even in writing, like in books, stuff like that. We've got a lot of good illustrations of the rough and tumble sort of folk who become sailors, right? So no one bats an eye, of course, when you hear the phrase, curse like a sailor. You expect that they'd be a little abrasive, right? Okay. As a shorthand here, obviously it's not a one-to-one, but I want you to take that understanding that you have of sailors, okay, and carry it over to your picture of a shepherd. Shepherds, it turns out, were the most uncouth, unrefined, and socially unacceptable around the dinner table members of society. Okay, in some societies, like the Egyptian societies, anybody who dealt with livestock at all were just considered the lowest of the low. You don't interact with animals unless you are yourself one, was sort of the idea. So the Egyptians, you just did not interact with livestock of any kind, okay? And sheep, all of that in a bunch of different societies. The people who deal with the sheep back then, and as some cases in the world today, lowest of the low, okay? And their lifestyle, not an easy one. You got to live out in the field for long stretches of time, living off the land. There's wild animals, there's crazy weather and so forth, and you've got to, with no fences or whatever, you've got to just deal with this herd. Okay, here in Nevada, we still have sheep herders. This is not something that a lot of people see, but the Basque folk, the Basque people from the old Basque region, of Europe, who came over here to the States, many of them still live in Nevada. Lots of pockets of various cultures that migrated over to the States maintain some unity here stateside. And the Basque people live in Nevada. And there are Basque sheep herders to this day. In fact, me and a buddy went hiking up the Sierras, right up there, right up that mountain, a couple years back. And we went backpacking up there, went camping, and I woke up one morning and I was in this hammock thing that I had strung up between two trees. That's what I was sleeping in. And I wake up to the sound of bleating, and I'm like, what is that? It sounds, I know what it sounds like. It sounds like a petting zoo. But what what am I hearing? And I like pull over the side of this like hammock thing and I'm like, what? And we were surrounded by sheep. My buddy was in a tent not too far from me. And I'm like, dude, are you seeing this? And he's like, yeah, what the And we were surrounded by sheep everywhere, all over the place. And the sheep are just like eating little sprigs of grass and bushes as they walk by. I was like, what the A little Australian shepherd dog kind of went trotting by and we're like, and then up the rear, there come a couple dudes just walking after the whole thing that we waved at them. They waved at us and on they went. It was like, huh. Interesting. That is, shepherds. It's nuts. Sleep out in the cold, deal with the weather all year round, and yeah, gotta deal with the wild animals, gotta deal with all this stuff. It's a crazy life. So forget the Charlie Brown Christmas shepherds and little kids with towels tied around their heads. Actual shepherds are badasses. They have to be. They have to be. So, okay, back to our battle. Back to our battle. Barely a teen, and therefore too young to be in Israel's army, David, our shepherd in question, was bringing provisions to his older brothers at the Israeli camp when he heard the taunting, this daily ongoing ritual now at this point, this taunting of Goliath, this huge Philistine. And he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Why hadn't someone put a stop to this insolence? So, after asking around, after why nobody was fighting the champion, how come no one had gone out to face this dude? Everybody's like, because look at him! And he just kind of kept asking around. So, he kept asking, and eventually he was brought before King Saul, okay, king of the Israelis at this point, the Israelites, where he said, I'll do it. I'll go fight this Philistine. I'll go do it. And Saul replied, you can't fight him. Like, listen, son, like, you can't fight him. You're just a youth. And the freaking Goliath, he's been a warrior since he was young. He's been doing this forever. This is what he does. Like, he kills people for funsies. You're, like, tiny and young. And no, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but bugger off. And David replied, your servant has been tending his father's sheep. Okay, good talk. Doesn't mean much unless you know about that shepherding thing again. Okay, your servant has been tending his father's sheep. Whenever a lion or a bear came and carried off a lamb from the flock, I went after it, struck it down, and rescued the lamb from its mouth. If it reared up against me, I would grab it by its fur, strike it down, and kill it. Your servant has killed lions and bears. This insolent Philistine will be like one of them. For he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. Teenage David was a ranger, and a model one at that. Tell me, men, how would you fare in David's shoes? Right. Let's get to it then. Life is hard. When you're a boy, and if you've lived that time per the best practices I described in the boyhood portion of this series, you're largely shielded from this reality. You don't know about finances and insurance, criminology and the law, geopolitics, the scale of human suffering. You just don't know those things. But when he enters the stage of a ranger, a young man needs to learn that life is hard. Not all at once, okay, but incrementally. He must come to an awareness of what all life's going to throw at him. And until a man learns to deal with the fact that life is hard, he will spend his days chasing things that are anathema to his development. Comfort, ease, tranquility. These are not the things for which man was made. The spirit of man quickly withers in such environs. We talked a lot last week about the Ranger and expectations and strengths and so forth. Tonight we get to talk about what happens when things go wrong. Now we get to talk about the stunting of the Ranger. As I said then, this stage must be seen through to completion, or it will haunt you the rest of your days, without question and without exception. The heart of the Ranger is stunted if he's never allowed to experience adventure, and if he's got no one to take him there, to show him by doing. He is stunted if he has no confidence-building experiences with hard work. And he is stunted in both cases if the adventure or the work are overwhelming, unfit to the unique disposition and heart of the boy. We're not a monolith, okay? We don't all experience joy or pleasure or fulfillment from the same things, okay? He'll be stunted if he suffers repeated failure in these attempts. Okay? He's stunted if the adventure or work are overwhelming and if he repeatedly fails at either. Okay? You must have wins under your belt as opposed to losses, okay? Wins. You need victories behind you. Either of these problems, either of these stuntings can be caused by overbearing parents. Regardless of the adventure or work that they prohibit you from experimenting with, the message, though, is the same. No matter what it is, and no matter their reasoning, the message that you, a young ranger, receives is the same. You'll get hurt. You can't handle it. You don't have what it takes. Remember, the question, the heart of the Ranger, the question that begins to emerge in all that you do as you develop into a man. The question is, do I have what it takes? And an overbearing parent, usually unknowingly, in prohibiting their adolescent, their young man from facing danger, is saying a message loud and clear. No, you don't have what it takes. More often than not, this is the voice of the mom who, if she loves her son, must deny herself and her nature and learn to let her son face danger. Boys who are allowed to just play video games all day face problems here as well. Virtual adventures and achievements in place of real ones. These will stunt your development, and that's because we need wins behind our belt, yes, but real ones. Allow me to illustrate and to talk through the distinction here, okay? A loving parent cannot allow their boy to stay there, to stay in this, if it's all that you do, if it's safe and controlled all of the time. And here's this asterisk that requires clarification, okay? I am not saying, not for a moment, that all gaming is bad. Obviously, I'm a gamer, okay? What I am saying is that a young man needs wins again under his belt. Real wins. I was having a conversation about this notion, incidentally, with one of the groups on Wednesday. I know all the classic lines because I used them too, all right? Video games help with hand-eye coordination. Video games help with mental geometric manipulation. They help with multitasking. They help with organizational skills, with planning and execution, resource management, right? Like min-maxing, streamlining, all those things. That's what video games do. And you know what? You're right. All those things are true. Being a gamer makes you better at all those things. So what's the problem? The problem is, despite the fact that I used all of those same excuses to justify the countless hours that I spent before a machine grinding out video game chiefs, is that I never took the skills, so described, and all the rest of them that I didn't. I never took the skills that video games made me better at and translated them into real life, tangible action or benefits. Tell me, fellow gamers, how often do our online achievements, our in-game achievements, make that jump? How often do they translate into real life? And how often do our in-game feats instead just make us better at gaming? Like, I'm a gamer. I'm pretty good at gaming. Think on that for a bit. I had to. Over the years and between all the different genres of games that I've tackled, I did not, incidentally, get good in life. Instead, I got really good at gaming. Doesn't matter how great I am at shooters if it's never followed up by picking up an actual rifle and firing it. I know a ton of dudes out there, a ton of dudes who've been top of the lobby in all these shooters a bajillion times, right? The best. Does that translate to the settled confidence that I have as a Marine, as a warrior? You can argue till you're blue in the face, as I once did, that video game adventures are just as good as real life ones. Or, in some cases, are superior to real life ones. But I will once again invite you to look at the results in your own life. If your life resume includes only game chieves, gentlemen, I can all but guarantee a couple things. 1, you lack confidence. And 2, you are far less likely to be in a fulfilling romantic relationship. Those two are not, that's an important distinction there. Fulfilling romantic relationship. Okay. Incidentally, I found a whole host of studies that talked about this. There's studies in Portugal that were interesting and others elsewhere. Tons of different studies that have been done trying to pin this down. And studies and surveys and polls, they demonstrate the positive connection between these two. Excessive gaming is the phrase that they'll use, right? And that's makes sense because I said if all you have on your life resume is game chieves, seems to me that would be excessive gaming per their metrics and so forth. Yes, I see all of those things, but I would again refer you first, before all of that, to your own anecdotal life experience before turning to the studies. But then again, let me be quick to add that there are way too many factors to consider in these studies. In any of these studies that I looked through, and it was a lot of them, I would be just no matter their source, no matter where all they were coming from, doesn't matter that they corroborated what I already see to be true anecdotally and have heard to be true from people that I know, okay? Not only do they, set all that aside, okay? I'm still exceedingly dubious of any study that declares for sure causal link between, say, X number of hours spent gaming, playing, Y game, and a Z% drop in relationship satisfaction. Their life is complicated. Things aren't that simple, okay? There's too many factors, too many confounding factors. Maybe because you spent all of that time in a game, you didn't develop a skill that otherwise would have gotten you into a relationship. I don't know that there could ever be a real, robust finding for that. There's just too many things. You can't ever have a control that you can manipulate. Not a statistician, but this is why I first say, look instead to the anecdotal. Because you know what will help you? Your anecdotal experience. The empirical is great. And for all of this, to find out best practices, obviously, I believe this. That's why I'm teaching them. But for your own life, I invite you to look at your resume, your life resume, and compare notes on what your gamer resume looks like and your life's results are. But back to my original posit here. If you're, say, a 21-year-old guy, and all you have are these in-game chieves to show for your life so far, you're in trouble. And you know it. Games are great. I love them. Besides books, they're my favorite medium for art, for storytelling. Okay, they're superior, in my opinion, to virtually all else. To film, to music, to games are incredible. And they do something in your mind that no other medium can. Okay? Anybody who's been a gamer, anybody who's experienced in the world of gaming knows what I'm after here. You know what I mean. Gaming it's freaking magical. I'm not here to condemn games or gamers. I want you to continue gaming. I certainly will continue gaming. My remark is merely a cautionary one. Do not let in-game adventures and in-game achievement be a substitute for real-life adventure and real-life achievement. Their effects on your development as men are not the same. They are not interchangeable. You must face real challenges and real work and real danger as a ranger. You are stunted either when you are not allowed to face these because of the prohibitions of others, say overprotective parents, or when you opt out of doing so voluntarily, choosing these substitutes instead. Regardless, however, of who kept you from facing danger, the result is emasculating. As the adolescent moves into his later teen years, the bodily risks will increase wildly. You moms out there ought to know this, especially if you've got boys that are coming up to this age. Be prepared. The danger will inevitably increase, okay? And that's a good thing. Definitively. Now, there's obviously balance here. Okay, some people are already like typing angrily. Hang on. Balance. Let me get to it. Balance. A good parent ought to have and exercise both wisdom and discernment, two of my favorite words. When the kid wants to drive 100 miles an hour in their car, on their motorcycle, their dirt bike, their quad, you probably ought not let them. Or at least discourage them. You won't always be around to stop them yourself, but dissuade this behavior. Strongly oppose it. Use all of your powers as a parent to, not probably let them go as fast as they wanna. This is something my parents couldn't stop me from doing. I had fast cars, and I drove very dangerous, and I wrecked a couple cars, and I got tickets, and it happens, okay? But part of this wisdom for you parents, part of this wisdom for any would-be parents, and that includes me, these are the admonitions not of me, but of these many authors that I have read, older and wiser than me, words that echo in my brain and in my heart that hopefully stay with me to the day that I hopefully do become a father myself, okay? Part of this wisdom involves, say they, and I concur, the necessity of risk. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Seabiscuit. It's been a long time for me, but I was reminded of this line. There's a critical one in there that comes to mind here for this part. There's this back and forth on whether or not to let the protagonist, Red, ride again after an accident that left him injured. The folks saying that he should be barred from doing so, they did this out of compassion, right? Not wanting him to get injured further. They've seen him suffer enough, and no, he shouldn't, it's too dangerous. During the debate, however, another jockey warns them, it's better to break a man's leg than it is to break his heart. And that is true. On the other side of this reality, however, remember, balance. The other side of this is outright abuse. There is outright abuse, okay? There are folks out there who, in order to make their kids tough, don't let them wear helmets while riding bikes or wear life vests when they're on a boat, sink or swim and all that. Yeah, that's that genre of treatment is obviously abuse. Now, I said that something that good parents ought to have and ought exercise are wisdom and discernment. Abuse is an evident lack of both. Okay? So I am not saying get good, get tough, suck it up, buttercup. Not it. Okay? There's a time and there's a place and there's a right way and there's a wrong way. Wisdom and discernment. I'm not here to rule on every single circumstance. I've not lived every single circumstance, and I've not parented any of them. So, wisdom and discernment. So in talking about balance, let me add to something I said in the last talk, okay? The development of a boy into a man is not just endless adventure, okay? As I said last time, this can be one's undoing, as it nearly was for me. Modern day Peter Pans. Described myself, right? Going snowboarding off in the Alps and just, you know what? I think I'll stay here. I think I won't grow up. Modern day Peter Pans. That is not the life of a man. That is not what is meant by this. That is not what is the ideal for this development, and it can in fact trap and stunt you. Do not land where I almost did. The endless pursuit of adrenaline and pleasure. Okay? Almost did for me. In addition to pushing the limits of adventure, which you should do, this period is equally a time of learning the meaning and value of hard work. The phrase work hard, play hard comes to mind, but in a sort of healthy way, not in a weird bro culture sort of way. Balance. So, just like we talked about with the adventure stuff in the last talk, it's important to bring the same principle now, this week, to hard work, okay? Too little will stunt you. So will too much. Do you remember when I was telling stories in the boyhood section about making pine wood derby cars for Cub Scouts and then Boy Scouts? Remember that? This was now like a whole month ago, so those of you who are here perhaps recall me talking about building pine wood derby cars with my dad. Built a little flaming arrow one. Very cool. Well, that one was the third pine wood derby car that I did. So the second one, I have a different memory for, okay? The second year that I made one, I first went over to a friend's house, okay, who had also just joined the Boy Scouts, okay? His name's Eric. Hi, Eric. If you're out there for posterity, I don't know. If you're like, wait, I'm Eric. Wait, I was in Boy Scouts. Wait, I also grew up in Northern California. Hi. Hello, old friend. Calling out Eric here. I had this friend, joined the Scouts, okay? And this was his first year in Scouts. And I went over to his house so that we could work on the pine wood derby cars together. He didn't have any experience doing this, and I was super excited, right? The first year, it came out pretty cool, but there were a lot of improvements that I wanted to make, right? I had my first one. I'm like, yeah, okay, I know ways to make this better. So I had all this like vision. Next time will be better. Now it was time, right? Year 2, I got the little block of wood, and now it's time to turn it into a race car that's gonna blow people's minds, right? I'm gonna have flames on it, and it's gonna be awesome. Like, all right, I'm gonna go over to my friend's house. Bonding experience, gonna be super fun. Get to work on these cars. Maybe you can learn from all my lessons, right? It's gonna be great. So I went over to his parents' house, right? And he'd never done anything like this before. It was his first year in Scouts, and he'd never done the Pinewood Derby car, didn't know best practices, didn't know any of that. Now, I didn't know very much either. I was still fairly new at this, but I knew some stuff, and I was eager to jump into it. So I was showing him how you needed to, like, on the side of the block, you needed to draw lines and sort of pencil out, like, this is the rough, like, shape, the profile of the car you're after, so that you can get, like, the big cuts done, right? A lot of it is done with, like, a chisel, I suppose, or like sandpaper once you get down to it, the finer details. But a lot of the, like, the big chops is like you need some broad stroke lines. So you draw out a rough like idea of what you want for your car. So we're over there and I'm showing him how to do it. Okay, once we did all that, it was time to cut into them. Yes, again, a lot of it was going to be sandpaper work and like fine tuning later. But for starters, it was, just big broad cuts. Okay, nothing super fancy, nothing super like, Nothing super skilled, I would say. So yeah, it was time to cut into him. So we went out to his garage and I was shook. Okay. That garage, I remember this to this day. I can picture this dude's garage. Okay. I remember where it was in town and I remember his garage. Walked in from in-house through the laundry room out into his garage. And that garage was immaculate. Now you guys heard the description during the Boyhood series of my garage growing up. And what my dad had going on in the garage, like floor to ceiling, parts and tools and junk and stuff, right? Like, that was like a garage to me. The garage was a magical place. Whatever you needed, go to the garage. Like the room of requirement in Harry Potter, okay? You go out into the garage. Surely what you seek is out there. If you can find it, it's in the piles, the heaps, the mountains. That was a garage to me, okay? So I go over to my buddy's house. We walk out there and I'm like I see cars. So that denotes that this is a garage. But in no other way that I understand garages, in no other way is this a garage, okay? No other way. It was wild. Floor was clean. There's 2 cars parked in the garage, okay? Like fully in the garage, big cars to boot. And there were very few tools, very little junk, okay? Blew my mind. So we go to ask his dad. His dad's there. It was like a weekend, so his dad was home. We go to ask his dad, like, hey, where's the tools? Because my friend doesn't know anything. Like, he's like, let's go ask my dad. Okay, so we go ask his dad. Where are the tools? We ask him, so we can use them for the Pinewood Derby cars. And he frowns at us. And I'm like, okay. So I read his face, all right? And I assured him, like, oh, no, we only need, like, a table, some clamps, and a skill saw. That's it. We don't need to, like, mess up your whole system, whatever your system is. We just need, like, some, like, simple, basic, rudimentary things, okay? Table, clamps, skill saw. And he goes, absolutely not. And I was puzzled. I thought maybe I said the wrong thing, okay? Maybe he was thinking of a different tool. Maybe I'd called it by the wrong name. That's possible. And that's why he was so against the idea. So I explained what I meant by like the saw, like the skill saw. I'm like, yeah, no, here's what I mean by a skill saw. Like, this is the tool I'm after. I'm describing a skill saw to you. He again scoffs, and he's like getting clearly irritated with me. And my friend is just sort of sitting next to me, like kind of a little shell-shocked, like, just being quiet. So he's irritated with me. And I'm still puzzled. Like, assumed maybe he didn't have a skill saw? Like, maybe that's what this is. Maybe he doesn't have a skill saw, and I embarrassed him or something like that. So, okay, whoa. So I asked him if he had any of the other options that could do the same work. I recommended a sawzall, a jigsaw, a miter saw, table saw, band saw, okay? Really anything. Anything like that would do. Like, simple. Just needs to be a spinning or moving blade or band, okay? Like, and he's, again, like, getting irritated with me. More and more irritated with me. So I told him that, like, it would be safe, that I was pretty comfortable with these tools. Like, whichever one he had, I'm like, I'm pretty comfortable with most of these, because my dad had taught me how to use them. And he goes, I don't care what you do at your house and what your dad lets you do. You can't do them here. And I'm still puzzled. Okay, a little slow to the uptake here, perhaps. I'm still puzzled. Again, thinking I had somehow explained something wrong. So I was a fairly conscientious kid, and I didn't like being misunderstood. I still don't like being misunderstood. And I didn't like that I was upsetting him, because clearly he's misunderstanding me. So I didn't like that. So I once again tried explaining what these tools were. Like, no, here's what the tools do. Like, just in case I had the names wrong, which again, I'm a young kid. I almost certainly have the names wrong, okay? I remembered, like, the name Sawzall because it's funny, but like I could never quite picture which one that was between a jigsaw, a skill saw, and a sawzall, okay? Like, I could never, so, okay, maybe I've got the name wrong. Maybe it's me. So I even borrowed a notepad and a pencil from him so I could draw what I was talking about. And I drew, crudely, a skill saw. Like, oh, it's got this, and then it has the blade on the front, and it, like, has a flat bottom and the little blade. Like, okay. But by now, he's super irritated, and he refused to help us with our projects at all. He's like, get away from me. I had to apologize to my friend for upsetting his dad, and then I proceeded to do the rest of the project with my dad, a couple days later. We didn't get anything done that day, obviously. And I actually don't know what became of my buddy's derby car that year, or if he even completed it. Looking back, I now understand why that same friend was sort of a shaky guy all through high school and into college, which is the last time I talked to him before we lost touch. For fear of his safety, his dad never taught him how to use power tools. And make no mistake, even though he didn't say these words, the father's message was again clear. You'll get hurt. You can't handle it. You don't have what it takes. Obviously, there's risk in teaching an 11-year-old how to use power tools, okay? He can absolutely get hurt. No question. No question. Totally a possibility. But that's why this is important. What I didn't understand then that I do now is that my dad, in his trusting me to wield an axe, to shoot a BB gun, to handle a BB gun, to use power tools, to help build things, is that he was saying to me, in those actions, with that allowance, with that freedom, with that vote of confidence, his words to me, though not explicit, were clear. You do have what it takes. Again, from Way of the Wild Heart. This is how most young men experience fatherlessness. There is no man around who cares and who is strong enough to lead him into anything. His father might be physically present, but unavailable in every other way, hiding behind a newspaper or spending hours at the computer while the young man waits for the father who never comes. Lastly, the heart of the would-be ranger is stunted when he repeatedly fails, okay? When he's not allowed to have adventure, and when he has adventure, when he does face difficulty, and when he repeatedly fails. An obvious example of genre of failure is that a lot of guys understand and internalize is physical, okay? Physical, tangible failure. Something that actually requires you to do something, like physical stuff, okay? Now, bear with me here. In a vacuum, there are virtually no boys or adolescents capable of differentiating between physical strength, or aptitude that comes with it, okay, and any other kind. To them, there's only physical prowess, okay? If you can't kick the kickball, you're a loser. If you can't climb the tree, you're a loser. If you can't catch a football, you're a loser, right? Like, there's countless movies made about this, right? Like, that's the time of the boyhood. That's just what it is. Sandlot, right? Like, you can't catch a ball. Who hasn't seen The Sandlot? Maybe watch The Sandlot again after this. It'll shake you. By you'll catch the sort of stuff that I've been teaching in this series. Go watch The Sandlot, okay? This is the world of the boy. It's not complicated. It's not nuanced, all right? It's not. Now, if, as I said in part 1 of the Ranger series, a couple weeks back now, right? You are not the sort of boy who's physically capable of competing in something like athletics. That's okay. It's not the end of the world if you don't make the varsity team. But, it is the end of the world if you don't have someone to coach you properly in this moment, in this failure, in this shortcoming. Okay? Not the end of the world if you don't make the team. It is the end of the world if you don't have someone to coach you through this. Whether it's your dad, your grandpa, or an actual coach of some kind, the teenage boy must have a role model that he respects. That's like part of the role model thing, okay? It's that you respect to interpret what I'm explaining to you now, right? You must have someone whose opinion matters to you. Explain this. You ready? You've probably seen a bajillion movies. You've felt this. You've seen this in your life. You've seen this illustrated anecdotally in your schools with the popular kids, the jocks, the captain of the teams, of the whatever, right? Many of you did not have somebody in your life to tell you these things. I'm telling you now. Take note. Pay attention. What you must answer for yourself. This is what you ought to have been told when you were 12, when you were 13. This is what somebody in your life that you respect ought to have taught you. What you must answer for yourself. What the question is demanding of you is whether or not you have what it takes, right? That's the question. Do you have what it takes? Is what your heart is asking. All of the time, and everything that you put your hand to throughout the ranger phase, do I have what it takes, okay? Whether or not you have what it takes, where exactly? When you're a child, and you equate physical prowess with all prowess, right? You cannot understand, even if told when you're a kid, you cannot understand why someone like Frank Sinatra was successful in life, okay? Or the rest of the Rat Pack, for that matter. Or Jay Leno, Stephen Hawking, Alan Turing, Winston Churchill, or Steve Jobs, Gandhi. Might the honed abilities, the honed qualities that made these men giants be important for the boy to hopefully soon appreciate? Yes. Yes, indeed. But who will tell them? You're a boy, all you know is climb trees, kick the ball, catch the ball. Until you have someone to explain this to you. Who will tell him? Does he have someone to walk him through the idea of success? As we've done here in the Mafia? Does he have someone he'll believe? Even if they did try. So, okay. What you must answer for yourself, what the question is demanding of you, is whether or not you have what it takes. Okay. Have what it takes. Where? In some arena of life. Don't miss this. Unless we have someone we believe to have authority enough to speak into this into the first place, okay? Like, to speak to this in the first place. Women, weak men, need not apply. Unless we have someone to tell us that we must find mastery in something, we'll not rest until we've achieved it in everything. Gentlemen, how many of you were taught this? How many of you had a worthy role model in your life that told you what I'm telling you now? And as a follow-up, how many of you well past the age bracket of the typical ranger stage, are still trying to answer the question, not just in one area of life, but in all of them, in everything you do? Here's where my counsel departs from that of the many authors that I've read on this topic, okay? This is where you get to hear some of my thoughts on the things differentiated. from a lot of these authors. Okay? These writers largely agree that this question, do I have what it takes, or however else it's been similarly worded, is central to the heart and experience of the Ranger, or this adolescent phase. Okay? Many of them call it different things as well, as we've said before. But here's what I believe they have wrong. Or more precisely, where I believe their advice to be incomplete. Their claim is that the Ranger is stunted unless he can prove to himself that he has what it takes. Seems straightforward enough. But because I'm a Marine, because I've worked with Marines, fought, suffered alongside Marines, I know that there's more to this than knowing you have what it takes to do X. I've known many men who've achieved the impossibly difficult things that I have, and yet they're miserable. They're miserable in these ways, in these qualities. Why? Was boot camp not hard enough? Was their time in the jungle, the mountains, the sandbox not tough enough? For those men, and for many of you, this is why you don't have peace. Your heart is restless because you've gotten this wrong. You've not been able to satisfactorily answer the question of the Ranger, do I have what it takes? Because the question is open-ended. At what point will it be enough? When you've graduated Army Basic? Nope. Unless you heed my counsel here and get this right, you'll still feel like you've not proved enough. When you leave the Army, become a SEAL instead? Nope. You've still not proven yourself. It's not enough. When you climb Everest? Nope. When you make $1 million? Nope. When you sleep with a supermodel? Nope. When you buy the Bugatti, the mansion in LA, the yacht? Nope, nope, nope. Each of these answers the question. It's true. You've demonstrated that you have what it takes to achieve each of those things, and that's not nothing. But once the dopamine high of each new level of achievement wears off, you'll come up feeling empty. Again and again and again. That is, unless you heed my words. Until you learn that what your heart craves is competence in some things, not competence in everything, you will never know peace. And this will follow on the heels of what we learned in part 2 of this series about the chief question of boyhood. Am I, before I've done anything, before I've achieved or accomplished anything else, am I first and foremost loved, valued, uniquely prized? If you never had this question answered satisfactorily, if you were not valued and loved unconditionally, and you've not yet gone back to heal the wound left there, you will forever seek to fill the hole in your heart through achievement. If you do know that you are, at bottom, loved and valued, and you have a wise role model to tell you that competence in some things is sufficient to answer the question, then peace is within reach. You'll not strive endlessly and fruitlessly, I might add, to prove to yourself and others your worth. You'll strive enough. You'll answer the question for yourself and the company of men whose approval you require. And then you can settle in to peace. What I am not going to do, tonight or ever, is make a blanket proclamation over everyone here that you are good enough as you are, and you have nothing to prove to anyone. I'll never make that claim. It's simply not true, and you know it. How often does our modern culture tell everyone, men and women alike, incidentally, that you're perfect just as you are? Anyone who says otherwise is awful, evil, whatever. Men. You've probably heard those words so many times. I can't even count how many streamers I've heard say something like that. I've heard people in calls. It's been so odd. Someone says, I did a pretty bad job, or, I just heard someone today was lamenting to a friend. They were being open to a friend, and they said, I don't make very good choices. And I was like, damn, what a phrase. Like maybe it was meant as a joke. I don't know. It was in Twitch chat. I can't read syntax, right? Impoverished medium. They said, I don't make very good choices. And I'm like, oh shit. And they were immediately hand waved away. Oh, yes you do. Oh, don't you be mean to yourself. Don't self-deprecate. That's not allowed. It's a rule. It's a rule. Men. Why, after hearing this sort of thing so many times, you're great just as you are. Don't let anybody poo-poo you. Don't put yourself down. Ever. Not allowed. Why then are you still so miserable in your soul? Why do you chafe at such encouragement? It's because you know it's not true. They can say it as often as they'd like. They can scream from the rooftops, you are enough, until they turn purple. But you know that you're not. If you've not answered the question of a ranger's heart, then you're not enough. But say you're one of the countless modern men who's told otherwise. You are enough! Does your discomfort magically go away? Why don't the words of women and weak men around you telling you you're perfect just as you are, why don't those words ring true? Don't miss it. Because the question isn't for them. The question isn't for them. They're not capable of answering that question for you. Do you see it? It doesn't matter if they really, really love you, or even if they really, really respect you. You have to respect you. And if you've not satisfactorily answered that question, the question, for yourself, no amount of someone else trying to validate or comfort you will. What you didn't need tonight, I know, from this talk, was someone to tell you that you feel like crap about yourself. I know. What you did need was someone to tell you why you feel like crap about yourself. And now that I have, what you need are solutions, not empty condolences or sympathy. So that's exactly what we'll do. Just like with the boyhood stage, if this is you and you've not answered the question of a ranger, then the solution is simple. Simple sounding. You must go back. You must answer the call. You must answer the question that's gone unanswered. No one else can do it for you. No one else even knows what you ought to do, where you even ought begin. No one knows you better than you. So how about it? Where in your life are you unsteady? What genre of confidence do you lack? The masculine soul needs the trials and adventures and experiences that bring a young man to the settled confidence of David before Goliath. Why? Why was David confident he could face this dude twice his size and thrice his age? What on earth made him think he could handle this level of risk, this level of danger? Because he had done it before. Do you see it? What about you? Not just have you faced danger before, but have you faced danger before, real, genuine danger, and come out triumphant? Men, do you have a settled confidence in your strength? If you don't, I'd wager you also didn't have any strong men around you to help you interpret life. So, as a boy begins on the road to becoming a man, there are some key issues at stake. He first needs to know he possesses a genuine strength, whatever that looks like, tailor-fit for him, the hand he was dealt and his disposition, okay? He first needs to get this. He needs to experience things. He needs to have wins under his belt such that he knows for himself, for nobody else, for himself, that he possesses strength. Again, whatever that looks like for him. Unique disposition, unique physiology, whatever. The young man needs to know for himself, within himself, that he has a genuine strength. Needs to know it. Not in theory, needs to know it in practice. Okay, that's part one. Have to have that. It's a key issue at stake here in the Ranger phase, all right? But the second foundational takeaway from his journey is why the first one matters. It's great to have strength, to know this about yourself, and you'll suffer the rest of your life without it. But you'll still forever lack peace unless you learn who that strength is for. Huh? That strength, what you've demonstrated to yourself, the wins, the real life achieves that you've accomplished, that you've worked through, that you've suffered through and come out on the other side of, that strength, your ability to face difficulty, come out the other side of it, is ultimately not for you. It's not for you, but for others. I'm going to say that again. That strength is ultimately not for yourself, but for others. Why must the Ranger cultivate bravery? As I discussed in the last talk, because it will be called upon in every other stage of his life as he brings that strength to bear for the sake of others. Men, you have a strength, and it is needed. When a man understands this, and knows it to be true of himself, not in theory, but in practice, he can face the rest of life as a man. If he does not learn either of these two key fundamentals, he will wander, he will drift, he will be ungrounded. This is why, coming full circle here, adventure is so important. Adventure demands something of us. It demands that we face the question again and again and again. We're not sure if we have what it takes to face the particular difficulties and challenges of a given adventure for each new one that arises, for each new one that we tackle. And it is only in facing and conquering said challenges that we can answer the question. This cannot easily be put into words. But men, you know of what I speak. You must live this. Once you've done something like face Marine Corps boot camp, in my case, you will forever have this feeling of surety, this feeling of strength, this soundness, this settled confidence to accompany you. I've told you this story before, but for obvious reasons in the context of tonight, it's relevant here. Second phase of boot camp. I'll be quick with this because you guys have heard this before, so here's the short version of the story. Second phase of boot camp is out in the field. First and third phases are on like MCRD proper on the West Coast, that's Marine Corps Recruit Depot, where you do a lot more classroom type stuff, drill, manual, like the learning ins and outs of what a day-to-day life of a Marine in garrison might look like, okay? You let a lot of the discipline type stuff, a lot of the coaching, a lot of classes, a lot of that going on, okay? But the second phase of boot camp starts with like grass week. That's where you get real field training, okay? You get issued heavy gear, you get issued working weapons, you get issued, well, I mean, they're working weapons, but now it's like weapons that you're actually going to take to the range and use on the range. Like, now you're getting, like, magazines. Now you're learning how to shoot. Now you're humping out packs into the mountains. Now you're digging holes, foxholes and stuff. Now you're throwing grenades. Talked about this last time, right? All this, right? That's all in second phase. Second phase culminates in something that many civilians, even including many foreign nationals, know the name of. It's famous. It's called the Crucible. The Crucible, aptly named, okay? You face the fire here. You are either refined by it or you're destroyed by it. The Crucible is all of the difficulty of second phase coming to a head. Okay, after weeks and weeks of just general misery out there doing all this stuff and all this shooting and all this, you do the Crucible. They give you very little food, and say, here you go, this needs to last you a week. It's like 2 MREs or something, or 1 MRE, I can't remember. Give you very little food, and then you get very little sleep, and you do war games, constant combat scenarios for night, day after day, night after night, constant. There's no rest. There's no recovery. It's nonstop. It's brutal. Brutal. And there's no showers. There's no cleaning up. There's no you get to go to the rear. There's no whatever, okay? It's just you're out in it. You're out in the awful. There's no escaping it. There's no running away. There's no going back. You're in this now. And it culminates with a 10-mile hump up something called the Alpha Shelf, okay? It's a range of mountains down in Camp Pendleton. And you go on a 10-mile hump with full gear, full like flak and sappy plates and Kevlar and rifle and ammo and weapon system stuff. And like it's squad organic weapons and material. Like you got all this stuff, all this weight, and you are just going up these freaking mountains. Day and night, you are doing scenarios the whole freaking way. You're taking contact. It's awful. And then at the very end, there's this crazy steep push, this last climb, and it's just up, okay? If you trip, you fall. There's dudes, you just see them tumbling down the side of the formation. Down they go. Gear, yard sailing all over the place. There goes his rifle. Oh, he's doomed. He's going to be killed, not by the fall, but by the instructors. And we finished that. Now, a little bit of behind the curtain here, okay? A little bit of like Wizard of Oz type stuff. The Marine Corps is nearly 250 years old at this point. The Marines are very, very clear on what they want out of you. The raw material that they take in as a recruit. They know what the end result ought to look like. They know that you, the rough clay, they know how to shape that into a Marine, okay? That's what their goal is. It's not ambiguous. It's not like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. And they've honed this formula of how to achieve their desired results over 200 years, okay? And they've gotten really good at it. Everything is timed. If you're going to boot camp, incidentally, know that nothing happens on accident. There are huge teams of people with massive vested interest, enormous expense to send someone through boot camp because everything is watched. Everything is recorded. Everything is like they're looking at you through a fine like microscope, okay? Everything is seen. And everything is scheduled. You get hazed on some random day and it's like, you're like, oh my God, it's because we screwed up. Surprise, it was planned. It was on the schedule for that day.
Did you think that you could just take an hour and a half to be hazed out in the sand and that just didn't interfere with classes or something that you needed to go to? No, this was part of the schedule. You got smoked because it's in the plan. This hump, this crucible thing, it's enough to, you're like, holy, how did this happen? It was planned. You finish this hike, this 10 miles out, 10 miles back, 10 miles out. You finish that by climbing this mountain, right? In the dark. And just as you get to the top, the sun crests over the horizon and you see the sunrise. You get up to the top and you scramble to get into formation. Everybody drops their packs, like we had to drop our packs in these things, and we all scrambled to stand in formation, huffing and puffing and miserable, holding our rifles there. And the company commander is standing out in front of us. And he says, "Congratulations. You've completed the crucible. No physical challenge in life will ever hamper you again. You've just experienced its limits. No physical trial will ever give you pause. You've just experienced its limits." Whoa. Heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. Heady stuff, too. You're 18 years old. You've wandered through your adolescence wondering and asking the question, do I have what it takes? Maybe you've had role models as you make the team, as you hit some sort of benchmark, some sort of PR. Maybe you've had good mentors who along the way have cheered you on and said, yeah, you do, and affirm your successes. And you in your heart echo what they're telling you, yeah, I do have what it takes. But maybe you didn't have that. Maybe you were unsettled. Maybe you were unsure. Maybe you didn't quite know how that question answers itself in your life as it pertains to you and your skill sets. And maybe you're not strong. Maybe you don't have what it takes. Who knows? And you're standing on top of this frickin' mountain by my side. And the sun starts rising behind the company commander down there in San Diego. You're covered in cami paint and dirt and sweat and gross and mud and awful, and everything sucks. And here's this man who's the picture. Marines are very good at this. He's the picture of what a Marine should look like. He should be on a recruiting poster, this dude, okay? He's a perfect specimen, as it were. And he's standing up there, this giant. This dude was so freaking tall. Couldn't even believe it. He's so tall. I'm like, what the how do they make them that big? Okay. Standing up there. And he says, to you, you have what it takes. If you didn't have an answer to the question before that, you do now. You do now. And what's crazy is, again, planned, in second phase, they bust you down. This is a long time. Boot camp is 3.5 months long, okay? And as you start to get a little bit confident in yourself, they know it. And they've got, like, baked into the schedule, because they've done this for hundreds of years with everybody who's gone before you. You're not that special in this regard. They know that you're going to start feeling pretty good about yourself. And, oh, maybe I'm kind of a badass. So they bust you down. Beginning of phase 2, they treat you like crap. And you question everything. Every single thing that you've done. Every achievement that you and your platoon have made it through. All the stuff that you've suffered through. You've made it this far. Hooray, you're going to second phase now. Nope. They treat you like worse. Worse than before. Worse than day one. You're just being hazed like crazy. Your life is so much worse now. It's nuts. And you question everything. Are they going to wash us back? Am I not going to graduate? Are we so bad that they're just going to flunk us all and send us home and say, you're not the right stuff? You don't have what it takes. You're not made of the right stuff. You're just errors. Your mistakes get lost. Like, you question your sanity, okay? You're not sure of anything at this point. They have ungrounded you by design. And then you finish second phase up on top of that mountain. And he says, you have what it takes. Nothing physical in life will ever trouble you again. The Marines know exactly what they're doing. It's so freaking smart. The Marines, it's like you could say the Marine Corps and equivalent things exist just for the Ranger. Just for the Ranger stage of a boy's development. Just for this. They've tailor-made it to be the frickin' jet fuel, adrenaline pumping, crazy testosterone boosting, that punch in the arm, that boost in your soul, in your spirit. Every single thing in Marine Corps boot camp is custom built to answer this question. That's why when you graduate boot camp, they call you a Marine for the first time. You're not a Marine during boot camp. You're a recruit. Even after that was second phase. We wow, our heads were held high. We went down that mountain. Everything was simple after that. And then we got our asses busted down again. We go to third phase. We reach whole new heights of suffering and stuff like that. But nothing physical. He was right. In this area, at least, we had an anchor point. Oh, baby. Go ahead. Make us do push-ups. Make us do pull-ups. Let's go. You want to go for a run? Let's go for a run. Nothing will top that mountain. Nothing will be more difficult than those humps. Nothing will be more difficult than hauling around all that gear, all that misery, all that shooting, all those live rounds, tracer rounds, zipping over your head, arty sims blowing up around you, ears ringing for weeks, starving and dying from lack of sleep. No, they knew exactly what they're doing. And then they say, once a Marine, always a Marine. What do they mean? Do they mean you'll always be enlisted? Do they mean you'll always be getting a paycheck from the Marine Corps? Do they mean you'll always be on call in case a war breaks out? No. They mean no one can take this from you. What you've seen, what you've accomplished, what you've achieved, you're answering the question. No one can take that from you. I don't care where you go or what you face. No one can strip this of you. The Marines is brilliant. They're brilliant for this. Now, I have a whole bunch of umbrage with them for a whole host of other reasons. They've gotten a lot of things wrong, I gotta say. But not that. Boy, they got this right. Whew. How about you? Do you have a story like this? Do you have a moment like this? If you're honest with yourself, in a quiet time, by yourself, only for your benefit, okay? When you don't feel the need to impress anyone, just you, by yourself, men. Would you describe yourself as having this settled confidence in life? If not, you need to get there. Your well-being as a man depends on it. It's not too late. You can go back. You must. You must find initiation and face it of your own volition. Adventure is something you opt into. And, incidentally, this will not look like what most men take to mean as adventure, okay? It's not the Peter Pan syndrome. It's not skiing and skydiving and base jumping and all of the exotic sort of extreme sports, okay? It's also not squandering endlessly all of our time fishing and golfing with the boys, okay? Adventure proper can take on many forms. An outing in the wilderness with your friends is a good one, sure, but it can also look like a blown head gasket in the middle of nowhere. A pull to completely change your career to something significant, something meaningful. A desire to learn a new skill or new trade, even when you're over the hill. We need to seek adventure, yes, but we also need to embrace it when it comes unexpectedly knocking. We need to have a mind for this that says the challenges that come are not burdens, they're gifts. They're opportunities. Opportunities that I will embrace when they present themselves. Why must we do this? Because we need to be strengthened in our souls. Our character needs feeding, and that happens out there. Out there in adventure. What do these adventures look like in your world? You, specific to you. What forms does the question take on in your life, in your heart? In what ways are you unsettled? What questions did you never get answered about yourself? For some guys, the question may be related to their work. For others, it will indeed be some sort of sports or athletic achievement. For still others, it'll be achievement in finance, okay? Others may, yes, need to climb a mountain. Some will need to learn to fight, to physically fight, to win an altercation in order to protect those that they love. Some will join the Marines. Some the SEALs, some the Rangers. No matter the particulars, each of us must answer the question through experience, not through words, and not vicariously through analogs, through others. Here's a different question that I want to leave you with. This, again, will be something for you to answer on your own time, by yourself. Schedule some time for this. Give yourself some time away from the family, from the kids, from work, from whatever you need. Find some time, okay? Here's a question for you, and you'll understand my meaning, and you could add more questions to this. You'll understand the heart of it. How much of life have I been misinterpreting? How much of my life have I been misinterpreting? How much of my life have I just dismissed as life sucks and it's hard and all this bad stuff that's happening is just par for the course? When in fact they were opportunities to grow that you did not embrace. In always chasing ease, how much of life have I missed? Men, no matter your age, you can answer the question. You must. Your peace and the well-being of your families, your communities, your cities, indeed your nations, depends on it. Remember, your strength ultimately is not for you. And so long as you lack it, and the settled confidence that comes with it, you will lack the ability to bring that strength to bear when the world requires it of you. Take a look around. The world requires it of you. The world is dying for want of genuine strength in all its forms, in all its flavors. Men, the world needs you. You have a strength. Have you fleshed it out? Have you figured it out? Have you answered the question? Have you discerned yet what strength you possess? Whatever it looks like. You have a strength, even if it is as yet undeveloped. And it is needed. You must answer these two things. You must have these two takeaways on lock. You must know what your strength is. And you must know that it's not for you. And insofar as you fail to develop this strength, to answer the question for yourself, you will not be of help to others. Decide that others are worth it. Decide today, resolve today, that others are worth the suffering, worth the discomfort, worth what it will cost you, because it will cost you, to go back, to find initiation as others have. Read the stories of men like Teddy Roosevelt, who did not answer their question well, who had all the stuff all done out of order, all messed up, until he was long a man, long an adult. And then he had to go back. There are countless stories of men who've done this. Read them. Thank you for your time and your patience. Thank you for being here tonight. I said it at the outset, but it bears repeating. It says a great deal about the caliber of human who chooses this on Fridays, who opts in to difficulty. Men. It says something about you. The quality of man, the quality of human who says, I will, of my own volition, step into difficulty, embrace it when it comes. I'll not shy away, I'll not run, I'll face it. Now, there's a video. This is something that would have been appropriate to play in the middle of tonight's lecture. But it's a YouTube video, and YouTube does not take kindly to people playing its content on streams, and I don't wish to have any quarrel with YouTube over rights and copyrights and get strikes and so forth. So there is a video that I let's see, I have an embed for it, but I'll have to find this link for you guys. I didn't think of that. Okay, there's a video that I want you to see. I can't show it here on stream, or at least I don't want to risk showing it here on stream, because there's not a lot that I can do to make it transformative. There's not a lot that I would add. I think that anything that I would say over it would detract from it, and I don't want to do that. It hits hard enough, and I don't wish to dilute it. So, I will be linking this video in the Mafia Community Discord. Join the Discord if you haven't. Links in the usual places. I'm going to put it in the Not Safe for Gus channel, okay? Because this is going to be a tough thing for some people, okay? It's going to be tough for some folks to process, to go through, but it will explain some of what it is I discussed here tonight. It is... I don't know that any of you would guess what it's related to, or maybe some of you have seen it, perhaps, I don't know. But it's something. And it's challenging. If you guys are unfamiliar, the YouTube channel is called After School. They do all sorts of videos. They get a speaker or quotes or books or whatever it is, and then they illustrate. They get dry erase markers, I think is what it is, and they illustrate whatever the story is going on. So that's what this is. That's what this video is that I'm going to link. After we close here tonight, I encourage you to give it a watch. It is 9 minutes long, okay? So it's not super long. But while you are still in this headspace, while you are still working through hard mode stuff here and now, I recommend that you watch this thing, okay? I'm going to link it in, again, the Not Safe for Gus channel, NSFG. Give it a look. If you can't watch it now, add it to your watch later list. Check it out at a later date. For me, this video was so impactful that I screen recorded the thing and downloaded it for my own, like, use later, for my own reflecting on it later. Because there's this problem that exists on the internet where even though the internet's supposed to be forever, people delete things. It took me forever to re-find this video. I mentioned this incidentally 6 months ago or something, 5 months ago, to, I think, one of the CNR crews. And I could not find it. People tried to help me search for it with AI's help and so forth. Couldn't find it. Finally found it. Give it a look-see. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it on Wednesday. I know that Wednesday's a far away. Some of you have lamented this as we've gone through the series. How are we supposed to talk with our communities about this? Wednesday's far. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. You can watch it now. You can watch it ahead of Wednesday, whatever it is. If you've got questions about it, concerns about it, I think a lot of it speaks for itself. I don't think it's a pretty simple, rudimentary story, okay? It's not highfalutin or complex, okay? It's pretty straightforward, but it's a really, really good illustration of what we've talked through tonight. So it leaves a lasting visual to boot. The next stream is tomorrow night, my friends. Saturday night, 8 p.m. Pacific. For some of the silliness, we turn from the seriousness and go to the first night of playing Webbed together. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a good time. I thank you again to everybody who made tonight a priority, who sacrificed to be here, who fielded questions, welcomed in new joins as we went through this, who sacrificed of their dollars to make this thing happen. In particular, I'm grateful again to the public patrons: Aki, Bootless, Dano, Leanne, Ferret, Goose, Hale, Jen, Joke, Abby, Tink, Helly, Marty, May, Karma, Pre, Rick, Zen, Ryan, Thump, Tech, not Thump, Sabrina, my bad. Thump has supported in a bajillion other ways. I had the Poke Rap sorted out. Sabrina, Tech, Mouse, Trotsky, Pell, Milk, Dragon, Siege number 1, and Zen. Thank you guys, to everybody who makes this possible. Means a heck of a lot. And thank you to the Hot Bride, who is asleep now because she has a day that starts at 4 a.m. tomorrow at the hospital. Thank you to her, my beautiful bride, without whom I cannot do any of this. Without whom I cannot be a benefit to anybody, in this capacity at any rate. So thank you for all of it. I've just posted the video. I hope you'll give it a look-see. What will we get up to on the nights ahead? Tomorrow night for the silliness, for the seriousness yet to come as we move into the next stage of the masculine journey, the warrior. What will it look like? What does it look like to do life meaningfully with one another on this hard mode business? Come and see. Come and see. And as ever, I will strive to see that it's a decision that you don't regret. In the meantime, I wish for you each marvelous evenings, mornings, wherever you be. And I will see you on the other side.